Hello, everyone. Welcome to YHB TV, your Handmade Business Television. For some reason, we just lost. Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I've been here. I don't
I was
know.
like, what happened? It's like as soon as I hit go live, it's like waiting for Isaac to reconnect. And then I was like, oh no, Isaac was supposed to start.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to YHB TV. It makes me glad this is not live broadcast television. Can you imagine? I mean, obviously we'd have better systems in place if that were the case, but
hopefully
someday down the road when we have our own Oprah-like TV show, we'll have like a full-on producer and camera angles and stuff. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Your Handmade Business Television. This is a weekly video series dedicated to help you navigate all things #MakerLife. I am Isaac Watson. This is Sharon Fain. She might be there, depending on how your video is configured. And we are the co-directors, the crazy, goofy co-directors of Academy of Handmade, a supportive community for makers. On this series, we like to tackle a new topic each week that we think needs a deeper dive into what's really going on in your business. In particular, this week, we wanted to take you a little bit inside behind the scenes on our Maker Mastermind program, which is kicking off in just a few weeks. Now, if you are brand new to...
like two.
Yeah, a few is... Yeah, okay, in just a couple of weeks. 2 weeks. Less than, actually. It's like 10 days. Anyway, we'll get into that. I think I'm just still reeling from the State of Making last week, which was our annual summit. If any of you had not joined us for that, it was 2 days, 6 sessions of live videos where we had experts, and it was amazing, Sharon. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was really fun, still recovering. If you guys are here from State of Making or you're part of the regular crew that comes here on YHB TV, feel free to say hello in the chat, introduce yourself, let us know what your business what you make, what business you have, and where you're located. Keisha is already in there. Hi, Keisha.
And Keisha was at State of Making with us last week as well.
Has good comments.
Yes, I think it's interesting. So for those of you who don't know me in person, I am actually rather introverted, and I can like put it on when I'm doing an event, but then I always need some recovery time. I know it, like, I don't think people quite realize how much energy doing something like State of Making can take out of you as a host. And I think somebody in this live video today took some naps after each of the days. Is that correct? I didn't nap, but I definitely needed some recover time.
Oh no, I definitely took naps after each of the sessions. Not each of the sessions were over, but after each day of sessions were over, because it's very exhausting to just like be super on and like remember everything and figure it out and like do that, hour after hour. And once upon a time, back in 2016, I did them all on my own, and I spread them out over like 3 weeks. Whew, that was a marathon, and I was wiped. So, oh, hey, Amanda's in here. Amanda was also in State of Making and gave some really good insight into her business and Etsy. So,
yes,
glad she's.
I just interviewed Amanda yesterday for the podcast. That's going to come out in a few weeks. And we had some really interesting conversation there as well. And I see, did you already say hi to Heather? Heather was at State of Making
in there
as well. So yeah, anyway, yeah, State of Making was really great. The topics were fantastic. Our guests were amazing. We had some really great
questions. We do say so ourselves. Great selection.
I think this is what's always impressive to me about those types of events that we do is like, sure, like we put some thought into the topics and who we invite to be on them, but not until it actually happens do we ever realize whether or not something worked. And I don't think there was a bum session out of the entire thing. That I was into all of them. I really liked it.
I fully agree. Everyone had good insight. All of all of the sessions, everyone played off each other nicely. So if you have not registered for it, Isaac will throw the link into the chat. It is now behind a paywall, but it's only $40 and totally worth it. So if you already registered, the replays are in there for you, just waiting for you to watch them. So don't feel like, that just because it's over and you already registered and didn't get to watch it live, it's all there for you.
Yeah.
So.
And so it's not just us tooting our own horns. Keisha said she's still watching the videos and they were all thebomb.com, which is a phrase that I have not heard in a while. And I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, totally. I don't think that is the link.
Is that not oh, come on.
Jeez, Isaac.
That's what happens when you put me on the spot.
Okay, that's the Academy of Handmade link. Sorry. Some people were confused because the Academy of Handmade one, it's all the way at the bottom. So I was doing like, sorry. We got our wires crossed.
Oh, you got it. All right. Anyway,
poll.
With that said, let's talk about the poll. We would love to know, pursuant to today's conversation, what area of business would you focus on if you were in a mastermind group? So if you click on the polls button, answer, and if you do click other, one of us will ask you later what you would focus on, because we want to know. We'll check in on that later.
Yep. Today is going to be a little bit of a direct, I guess, plug pitch than we usually do. But because State of Making just ended and we decided with State of Making, we would like immediately launch into our mastermind. We did want to cover it a little bit on this YHB TV. So this is definitely a little bit different if you are joining us for the first time. You can see the other sessions above us to watch in the following weeks that are a little bit more traditional topics. But today we wanted to sort of discuss like why you would go into a mastermind, why you would go into our mastermind, what the program's like. And we want to encourage you that like, just because this isn't right for you or you're looking for help and this doesn't seem to exactly line up with that there's like other programs out there. Like we want to be a resource to you guys. But we don't want to feel like we have to be the resource. If you watch State of Making, when Stacia was like, I'm just glad you went aluminum free, Isaac, that's how we feel. We're just glad you found the resources. I mean, we will shame you eventually into getting handcrafted honeybee deodorants. It will happen because it is the best. I don't know why you're not using it, but.
How did this turn into talking about my deodorant again? I don't know. I know that's on me last week, but
hey man, you brought it up, you opened the door to it. So
anyway. I wanted to add that regarding our mastermind last year, when Sharon and I first envisioned putting the mastermind program together, we were I think we were just like on a riff or something on a call together, and we were coming up with fun names, and we decided initially that we wanted to call our mastermind Friends with Benefits and be a little.
We might get emails over that, and we said, okay, that's fine. We'll take the emails.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of if I could like talk about the mastermind on a very broad conceptual level, that's what I think of, is that it's the whole thing is designed to help you develop friendships within the maker business community that do have benefits to your business that aren't just social connections. And so I think if you think about that from that frame of mind as we dive into things, I think it'll be helpful.
Yep, totally. Sorry, I'm looking for notes here. So basically the mastermind that we're constructing together is 5 weeks, and it has a virtual summit where you're going to have speakers, and after the 2 days of speakers and virtual summit, then we're going to launch into a few more weeks of working together through a curriculum. So we wanted to kind of like share with you a little bit about like when this might be helpful for you, because I think we also offer a jumpstart program that you probably heard us push to. But there's a couple ways that we want to talk about when this mastermind might be helpful. If you've got strategy questions, if you feel like there's knowledge that you need that's beyond the basics, so maybe you've already, you know, gotten some education. That sounds really
educated.
Taken some education courses, or, you know, gone to conferences, been to classes, taken courses online, whatever, you name it, you know. And it's a lot of like, usually like, you know, how to like set up listings on Etsy, and like how to do SEO, or how to get better in social media. Like we're not here to tell you like how to like go after these things like tactically. We're here to talk about, you know, things sort of beyond that. Like, how do all of these things integrate together in your business? Because it's great, and we have some stuff that can help you with, you know, like, I need to figure out what's going on over here and like really nail this down. But that's not really what we're here for. There's definitely people better at that than us. And if you ever have questions on those things, you should definitely, you know, ask in our Facebook group or email us, like, who people could be. Like, Isaac and I know the best people. And we're happy to tell you that. But like, this is like how do things sort of like interlock together in the business, and like, where does it fit on a path going forward? And like, you're looking for feedback, even like, does this sound right? Like, you've already started maybe to do some of that work of piecing things together. And you're not sure if that's the way to go. And maybe you've also just been like working, going in your business, and it's maybe time for some introspection. Like, okay, is this actually making sense? Like, Isaac and I have definitely done that. Obviously, like, we kind of did that with our whole business strategy, which before was, you know, focused on a community, and we had gone on that. And then we kind of like finally hit a wall, realizing like, if we're growing this, like, is this actually what we want? And so, man, this is like the time to do that. Like, Isaac and I have sought wise counsel together, obviously with each other, but not like, that's a weird like meeting of the minds, but like outside of ourselves and our business, you know, for these perspectives. And I feel like that has helped us tremendously. So that's basically kind of what this is.
Yeah. So I just want to reiterate, there are a couple differences between this Maker Mastermind program that we're talking about today and our Jumpstart program, which we launched last year and relaunched at the beginning of this year. So just to clarify, our Jumpstart program is really all about finding your path and helping you examine the fundamentals of your business, like knowing your numbers and revealing your roadmap, things like that. This mastermind program is really about digging into your business with your peers and making progress on your goals. So that's kind of those are the two best ways I think we can explain the difference between the two.
Yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. So Sharon already mentioned it a little bit. So it starts out with the virtual summit, which is May 22nd and 23rd. Those are half-day things. I would say it's kind of like the state of making, but more in depth, because we are featuring speakers that will be presenting on a topic instead of just doing a loose Q&A. And so we're featuring Leela Barker, our longtime friend and very well-known person in the community who focuses on wholesale branding, things like that. Gabby Luoma, who's a certified public accountant. She was on our mastermind last year and provided an immense wealth of information about finance. We have Sarah and Dana from Spool Town, which is a cut and sew factory here in Portland. They were on YHB TV last month, and they'll be back to dive deeper into production and manufacturing. And then, of course, we will be there hosting as well. So yeah, finance systems, pricing for growth, production, manufacturing, those are all topics that we're going to cover just in the virtual summit.
Okay, let me put this into the chat, which is there you go. We'll link to the Spool Town YHB TV. We also have like a curriculum. So like, I want to stress, like, if you can't watch the virtual summit live, it's half day. It's during the mornings to early afternoon on West Coast time. If you can't do that, it's all available, like the State of Making, for you to watch whenever you want afterwards. So like you could keep watching, it's and going over stuff. But we also have like a 5-week curriculum that we're going to have virtual meetings each week to kind of discuss, but it's also worksheets and things for you to kind of work through and go on your own. And that includes like your path to making. So like, where did you creatively get started, and what's sort of feeding you in order to like understand like what is going to kind of creatively sustain you? Because I think it can be very easy for people outside to tell you how you should run your business or what's the best move. And that's not always the best move for you, because it's going to burn you out. It's not going to fulfill you, even if it seems like the best strategic, business move. So that's definitely something we go through with you. Plans on scaling and how to create support systems. So I know scaling gets like, oh, you want to become a giant empire. Well, we are not wanting to limit anyone in this. So scaling could just be like, you're a one-woman operation that wants to like max out her potential for that. So that can mean help in lots of different ways, and we want to help to create that for you. Sales and marketing as well, measuring, tracking, and planning, and then honing your craft and creative inspiration.
Yeah. So Sharon already mentioned the weekly virtual meetings. So those will happen each of the weeks following the virtual summit. In those meetings, we'll do hot seats, which were one of the like biggest takeaways we learned from our pilot program last year with the mastermind, was that the hot seats were like the meat, the juice, the really, really awesome time where we could dive into an individual person's issues, struggles, challenges in their business and really troubleshoot that.
It was kind of like both individual and group business therapy.
Yeah. It was really, really good. And then we'll have some structured discussion. And then we're also going to be doing some peer breakouts. So allowing individual or, 2 or 3 people from the group break off into little mini sessions on their own to workshop something and then come back to the group.
Yeah. And then after it's all done, we're going to do accountability pairings for people to help them stay on track. So I think it's one more way for us to provide sustainability for you in these relationships. I know I've definitely done programs where afterwards you're like, okay, it was cool meeting everybody, and now we're not really connected anymore. But we have people that were paired up last year and are still meeting regularly. So it's definitely something that we think can be really valuable and transformative. And it's all under $300 for 5 weeks. So, which is extraordinarily cheap and priced for makers.
Exactly. This is no like Tony Robbins $10,000 mastermind where you just get on a conference call 3 times.
I mean, it's not even other creative business masterminds that I feel like are definitely not as tailored to a maker business and a lot more money.
Yeah, for sure. So there are a couple things that we think will be really helpful to anybody who enrolls in this. One, I guess like our goals out of this are to help you make smart changes in your business, to help you find creative solutions to problems you're going through or challenges you're encountering, and to be able to lean on your peers for help. And that's one of the reasons why we feel that this mastermind program, we're calling it a mastermind, but it doesn't fully fit within the mold of what most masterminds look like. And that's because Sharon and I are here to help facilitate the entire process. And we want to guide you through it and work through the curriculum, as well as leading the virtual summit, to give a lot more context and to allow you to go deeper than just, here's a group of people, have a call once a week and let you do it on your own.
Definitely. So basically all of this is a facilitated, guided process with us. It's a great combination of you doing stuff on your own, having time to do stuff afterwards, and also connecting with your peers too. So, do we want to look at the poll really quickly?
Take a look at the poll.
So what areas of business would you focus on in a mastermind group? 5 of you said big picture strategy, and then a handful of you said marketing systems, and then other. And I think Amanda said what her other was.
Yeah. Amanda said, I want to vote for big picture and also marketing. I guess marketing mostly, but big picture is so helpful. It is. It's true.
And it's really hard because I feel like when you're in the day-to-day of stuff, it's hard to, it's very easy to question yourself if you're thinking big picture enough, I guess, like if your big picture is correct. And it's also really hard to make time to sit and even think about things. So we get that a lot. Sure. So Heather says, so Jumpstart comes again next year. Do you want to take this, Isaac, or do you want me to take this?
I'll take the first part, which I know, which is that Jumpstart is available as a self-guided program. Now you could go join it if you want. I know we did. I mentioned that we started it last year and then we relaunched it in January or February. That was the live version, and this is where I hand it off to you, Sharon, because I don't remember if we've decided when we're doing the live version again.
We have not. We have not. There is a live portion to it that anyone who has ever done the program will get the update on. Mm-hmm. We always, if you were in the program, we always give you whatever the updates are to the curriculum and to the virtual summit for Jumpstart, but we haven't scheduled one for this yet. So it will probably happen sometime before the end of the year. But if you want to start on Jumpstart and you feel like that's a program for you, you don't need to wait at all for that to happen. Like you can start doing it now. And then whenever we have the summit, you can interact with the experts on there. But we already have the summit from last time up and in there, and you can watch it. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does.
I think the thing that I would add to that is that so the Jumpstart program, whether you do the what we call the evergreen version, which is around all the time, or the live edition, is still largely self-guided. So there is a curriculum, there is the video content, things like that, but you're still driving your learning pace yourself. And it's great if you don't have a ton of time to devote to it and you want to just like piece it out a little bit at a time, or if you have an entire weekend, you want to just immerse yourself in it, that's great. But if you are looking for the guided facilitated thing, that's where the mastermind is going to be a little more beneficial, because we're there to walk you through that and to keep the group on track.
Yeah, you get a ton of peer feedback and you get a ton of hot seating. Like I said, basically business group therapy is what it is. So yes. And if you know of actual therapy, $300 is still very cheap for what this is. Just saying.
Well, I think what's great about it, so, masterminds in general, I've been in part of a mastermind before. I know you have been as well. I don't know if you still are or not, Sharon. But I think the great thing about them for me is that they have always been, it's that peer element to it that I think is really beneficial and that's really benefited me in the past. It's one thing to like my dad and I love talking about business stuff generally. That's just like part of our relationship, but I can't like workshop stuff with him because his perspective on it is completely different. He's an IT guy in the corporate world. Like that doesn't relate to what it's like to be self-employed and to start one's own business and run through those things. So having a group of people that get the same things that you're going through, that have been there or that might be there in the future, having that perspective is so much more helpful than just, asking a random person off the street.
Yeah. So I would also say, so yes, I was in a mastermind, and it was something that we were doing once a week, and it was with other people that had businesses that were not exactly mine, but were just like kind of adjacent. And so I feel like a lot of their issues were not my issues. They were all basically like blogger types, and I was not a blogger. So like, my income is not dependent on views the same way and such, and, you know, advertisers. So there's that. But it was still good to chat with people every week, and I learned a lot. I would say the thing with that is that it was just sort of like a group of people that came together to discuss things. And if you're thinking of creating your own mastermind, like, this is definitely something you can do too. It was just became, because it was like every week and there was no end to it and no like curriculum we were following. It was just like, let's hash out what's going on in our businesses this week. And each week we kind of like took turns with like two people talking about what was going on. It just kind of like fizzled out because there came a point where like, okay, we've kind of talked about all the problems and we're just going to rehash old problems, I guess, with each other. So that is kind of the reason why it stopped working, but it was definitely good while it lasted, and I'm really grateful for it. So that is something that if you are starting this, that is one reason like we wanted to do this with like an end point to it, and then like, here's a partner if you want to continue with them, and then you can decide with them like how deep and how long that you want that to even go to. So Heather has another question. She says, is peer feedback mostly for more established businesses though in the mastermind? The whole mastermind is basically, we are not doing this as like beginners. Like, if you've never like really investigated like how your Etsy works, or like you've never done a craft show because you've just never done one, and not because that's like a business strategy. Like, I get some people have never done a craft show, but like you've never like really investigated wholesale and things like that, like this is probably not the group for you. But this is definitely like, I want to say it's like an intermediate, but it's not like, you know, it's not like everyone is going to be, you know, about to like have a warehouse and like launch into like a major, you know, launch a wholesale account with like a major big box store or something. Like, that's definitely like not the case with everyone. So
I'm trying to think back to the participants we had last year, Sharon, as kind of an example of the types of businesses. And so I know we had one person who was dramatically shifting gears between what she was making and going from, if I recall correctly, it was like kind of a mixed media jewelry to beaded stuff. We had somebody who was essentially rebuilding her business after a catastrophe, who was very limited financially, but had was still trying to just get back on track and recover some ground. Who else did we have in that group? I'm trying to think.
I mean, I think we had people who were, you know, only a couple years into their business, and then we had people that were farther. I don't like to put timelines on like how long people have been in their business, because sometimes like people have been doing stuff for like years and kind of like not taking it very seriously, and it's very much a total side thing, and then all of a sudden they're like, I want this to be serious. And other people who like jumped in really serious have maybe had other businesses before, like other business experience. So that's kind of like where it's at. I don't feel like anyone is coming in as like some big expert and you know, schooling people. It's like definitely like a group of people that are like, oh, I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah, I would say the other example of someone that was in there that I just remembered is someone who's had just a very slow and steady business, intentionally slow and steady business for a number of years, who was just trying to figure out what the next steps were in a way that fit within her capacity and her ability to keep pursuing her business. So, you know, I wouldn't call her an advanced maker, but I also wouldn't call her a beginner. And I feel like intermediate is this like massive spectrum of people. So it takes all types. But I think what Sharon said was right. This isn't about like exploring craft shows for the first time, or trying to understand the 101 level basics of social media or things like that.
Yeah, this is not for people who have like never done any bookkeeping in their business, but this is not for people who are like, I've mastered bookkeeping in my business or something. You know what I mean? Like, there is a giant in the middle of like, oh man, I am not that good at finances, but I'm kind of understand stuff and I'm making efforts. But like, that's kind of where we're at. I guess.
Sessions in the summit itself will be focused on kind of broad strokes overviews from like helping nail the conceptual stuff and like understanding why this is important. What are some of the key things that you need to know, instead of like step by step, how do I do this? If that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a lot of like thinking about like Isaac said, like knowing what you don't know a little bit. Like an expert is kind of telling you like, oh, these are things you should be thinking about, instead of you trying to hunt online every time like a problem arises in your business, or kind of wondering like, oh, how do I get through this problem, or what should I be doing about this or that? Like, it's someone telling you how to think. Like, here are all the things you should be thinking about. You may not have to deal with all of them right now, but like as your business grows, here's kind of like where to start investing time and money and stuff.
Exactly. That was a very long-winded answer for Heather, but I think it helped.
It was very long. All right. I think those are all of our questions. If you guys are interested, basically next Friday is when the cart closes on this. So you'll want to get in on that. If you're still on the fence about it, we're still kind of like going through some emails and letting people know more about it. So if you go click the button below, you can just sign up right now, or you can get on the email list and say, I'm interested in knowing more. You can also email me.
I'm putting mine in too.
Isaac just put my email in there. You can email us and say, we've already had a few people email us and directly say like, is this for me? And like, we can better explain like your business within the context of this. So, thank you for enduring our pitch today. We only try to do this when we think it's going to be extremely helpful. And we know that some of you are sort of in this spot, and there really just truthfully isn't a lot of stuff like this out there for makers. And so we really do think it's a valuable experience, and we've seen people have a lot of growth through when we've done it before.
Yeah, for sure.
Blown away. People were blown away.
We blow minds. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Great. Well, next week we will be back with a fun topic, I think, which will be exciting, which is to discount or not to discount.
Very controversial, right?
and I know we're going to talk about Etsy's new abandoned cart discount system that they introduced. So that's going to be a fun conversation.
Yep, definitely. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Any questions, feel free to email us. You guys all have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.